Welcome back, everybody. The Court Illustrator? I've never heard of that before. Look carefully. This shows what the scene looked like at the time of the murder. Also, they did have a lantern with them. An illustration of the highest quality as always. Now then, we have established that by the time the murder occurred, the sun had already set. And so naturally the defendant was carrying a firelit lantern, as we can see. A lantern? Eureka! Indeed! Yes, that is what I was saying earlier. There was a lantern I say. Oh please, you totally forgot. To be honest, I did not imagine it would be necessary to present this, but... Milord, here is the lantern in question. This is what was responsible for the light illuminating the area. Very well, the court accepts this in evidence. Alright, so we probably gotta do something with that pretty soon here. Speaking of which, Inquisitor Barnum, in this drawing, the accused seems to be holding a milk bucket of sorts. What became of this? That is a strange case indeed, my lord. The bucket seemingly disappeared from the murder scene. The milk bucket disappeared, you say? There has been talk of wolves living in the nearby forest. It is thought they often make off with the items they find on the ground. Great, wolves that steal your stuff. Remind me to never set foot in that forest.
This is great, Nick. We've got new evidence now.
Ah, yeah, I guess you're right.
You know, Nick, you really don't look like just some normal run-of-the-mill baker. I'd say you're more like a somewhat articulate run-of-the-mill baker. I think you might even have a knack for being a defender.
There's a clear contradiction somewhere in that testimony. I'm going to find it. Alright, let's grab the girl by the arm. It looked like he almost pushed her to the ground. Alright, so there's got to be a statement here. I heard a faint voice cry out. The next moment, those two villainous men burst into flames. There was not a trace of fire to be seen in the area. Without a doubt, magic must have been used. No. There's fire in the lantern too, isn't there? Objection! Uh-oh. Forgot that we don't know how to do this. What is the matter, defender? Oh. What is this feeling? I just felt the urge to shout out right from the bottom of my lungs while pointing my finger. Objection! I can't help but feel that's a word I've used quite a bit in the past. That's it! I remember now! I remember everything! The League of Attorneys Exchange, Aspella's trial, and then that strange book. This feeling, I feel like I can take on the world! Witness! Oh, we're kicking it into high gear now. What's with the sudden pointing? I am a soon-to-be member of the Honorable Knights of the Inquisition. I accept your challenge. How about you? You say that no fire was present at the scene of the crime, meaning the defendant must have used magic. Unfortunately for you, that is not the case. What do you mean, Sir Apprentice Baker? What I mean is that the defendant was in fact carrying a lantern containing fire. Those two rogues were actually burned by the flame that was inside that lantern. That is the only logical explanation. My, what a startling conclusion you've come to, Sir Apprentice Baker. What do you mean? The only logical explanation? Do you agree with this statement, honorable witnesses? It is presumptuous for a man that knows nothing to claim that he knows something about which he really knows nothing. Huh?
Besides, how could one teeny tiny flame be strong enough to let them both ablaze like that? There were two of them. How could that flame engulf them so fast?
Furthermore, if they did burn as you claim they did, do you mean to suggest that they were soaked in oil or something? Oh, that was kind of his voice. Oh. Well, Sir Blue Knight, it would seem you have bitten off more than you can chew. I definitely didn't see that coming. What say you, my lord? Do you have any thoughts on the proceedings thus far? Given the testimony as we have heard it, this court has come to its conclusion. 'Twas a truly gruesome and merciless act. An act for which only one thing could be held responsible. The nefarious crime of magic.
Hold it!
Wait just a second. Is there something you have forgotten to mention, Defender? Not exactly, Your Honor. It's just that, I mean, you just said magic. And that can't be right, can it? What are you suggesting, Sir Apprentice Baker? Witches use magic, which in turn brings about disaster. Such is the way of this world, is it not? Well, yeah, that may seem to be the case, but no way is that actually possible. This court finds Aspella Cartabella, the accused, charged with being a witch. Aspella, a witch? A witch's existence in this world is a crime in itself. The ability to use and control magic is a criminal offense indeed. As such, any witch found practicing magic will be sentenced to death by fire.
No, you're wrong. I'm not a witch.
Sir Apprentice Baker, I do not envy your current predicament. My lord, hand down your guilty verdict against this witch immediately. But there's no evidence to prove that any magic was really used.
Put a sock in it, bread boy. We all heard her cast a spell.
Huh?
That's right. Snowy and I heard it. Isn't that right, Precious? We heard that incantation quite clearly.
That's Frightening's voice. There's no mistaking it was Aspella's voice.
These ears do not lie. I clearly heard an incantation most sinister. Ignize it went. What? Incantation? Ignize? It's no good. I just can't wrap my head around this topsy-turvy otherworldly court. Well then, it would seem the defense has no further objections. It appears so. The court finds the use of magic at the time of the murder be an undeniable fact. Furthermore, the honorable witnesses have stated that they each heard an incantation being recited. The court finds no reason to delay its verdict any longer.
Nick, we have to do something.
I know, but what exactly can we say? Here in this world, our sense of logic is completely useless.
This court is ready to hand down its verdict for the case of Aspella Cantabella. Hold it.
What? What? Oh, yeah, baby! Let's bring in Layton. Oh, man.
Your Honor, I request that the court hold its verdict a moment longer.
Oh, man.
What is the meaning of this intrusion? I have something I believe will be of use to the defense. A weapon of sorts. That's the Grand Grimoire. All of this world's magic is contained within its pages. Without it, this trial cannot reach a satisfactory conclusion. The Grand Grimoire.
We meet again, Mr. Wright. Well, now it seems things are already afoot here. Although the real contest begins now. Are you fully prepared? So are you here to help us?
Of course. The professor always helps people in trouble. It is the duty of every gentleman, right, Professor?
Professor? There is a saying that I find quite useful in situations such as this. There is a time for words and a time for action. Right. You have been working as a baker in this town up until now, have you not? I must say I'm a little mystified. I'd have expected you to be more familiar with this world and its system of magic. Ah, yeah. How can I put this? I guess that's not quite the full story. Is that so? I kind of had an epiphany just now. I remembered all sorts of things, like how I'm not actually a baker, and well, how magic can't really exist. And it would seem I was correct about you, Mr. Wright. You are not, in fact, a citizen of this town, is that correct? Right, at least it seems that way. However, for now, we have no option but to accept this world and its rules as a reality. Without first understanding those rules, I'm afraid you will not be able to save Miss Cantabella. But things like magic only exist in fairy tales and make-believe. I'm afraid, Mr. Wright, it would seem magic does in fact exist in this world. Such a truth cannot be denied. Indeed, that is why the Grand Grimoire is a weapon well suited for this wish trial. At the moment you are tantamount to a knight without a sword. I feel more like an attorney without a chance, actually.
Right then, Mr. Wright. I'll explain how the Grand Grimoire works. Have a look at the touchscreen. There you'll see the Grand Grimoire button. Touching the Grand Grimoire button will open up the Grand Grimoire.
You will be able to present spells from the Grand Grimoire in much the same way you would present evidence. This book will surely be a most important asset for us in this trial.
Oh, that reminds me. I've gone ahead and bookmarked the spell Ignize for you.
Alright.
Ignize. That's the magic spell all of the witnesses said they heard, right? Nick, you should take a look at that spell.
All I have to do is touch the Grand Grimoire button, huh? Alright. Oh, nice. So on the bottom it just tells you what it does. Ignites Infernal Spell summons a circle of flame within a 1 meter radius of the caster. It requires an incantation and scepter to cast. Did they say anything about a scepter? I don't know. The defender has been given more than enough time. It would seem this trial has reached its end. Is that understood, Sir Apprentice Baker? This case is quite straightforward with very little room for doubt. The witness's testimony coupled with the illustration of the time of the murder makes it quite clear what must have occurred. This murder was the result of magic, and furthermore the caster of said magic was none other than the accused. That, Sir Apprentice Baker, is the truth. Best you go back to baking, for I believe your days in the courtroom have crumbled. Ah! Is everything okay, Mr. Wright? Yes. It would seem that photographs do not exist in this world. Photos don't exist? I guess that makes sense. Ye old time period and all. The sketch drawn by the court illustrator. Therein lies your final chance, Mr. Wright. My final chance? I understand the witnesses have already finished their testimony. However, if you could perhaps find a clear contradiction within this illustration. There's another contradiction? In that case, there's still hope that I can turn this around.
Mr. Wright, you have to hurry. Look, the judge.
Oh, he's pissed.
He looks ready to deliver his verdict any second now.
This is it. This is my last chance. What should I do? We gotta point out the contradiction. We're flipping Phoenix Wright. 1 second, Your Honor. The defense requests permission to have another look at the court illustration. I think there might be a contradiction in there. You are already out of time. All testimony and evidence given thus far has been proven to be accurate. I wouldn't be so sure, Inquisitor Barnum. There's just one thing you've overlooked. A piece of evidence within this book. The Grand Grimoire. Absurd. I overlooked something. You are the defender here. You should have examined the tome earlier. You're right, I should have. But unfortunately I was nothing but a simple baker until just now. Interesting. You've certainly begun to show your true colors, Sir Blue Knight. Let us see what type of knight you truly are. How about you? The defender will now show us this supposed contradiction. The court illustration and the Grand Grimoire. Somewhere there's a contradiction between those two and I've got to find it. This is my last chance. Defender, use this magnifying glass to locate the point of relevance and reveal to the court the location of this contradiction. Well, it's gotta be... Because once again, the lantern is using fire, right? So, just kind of like highlight, like right there. Take that! Or gotta! That's right, I forgot about that. That was in Dual Destinies. The contradiction is right here. The hand of the accused, she seems to be holding a lantern. What? Oh, sorry, that was the judge. What is your point? According to this tome, using the spell Ignize requires the use of the witch's scepter, as well as an incantation, isn't that right? Oh, well yeah, that's what I was just asking earlier. Correct, for witches to use magic, they must be in possession of a witch's scepter, also known as a Talia Magica. If that's the case, then there's one thing that doesn't add up. Take another look at Miss Cannabella's hands. Tell me, do you see the witch's scepter in either of her hands? Yeah, that's right. There we go, let's see you point that sword at me now.
You did it, Mr. Wright. But wasn't that contradiction just a little too obvious?
You may be right, Luke.
Eh?
It would certainly appear that the good Inquisitor has taken this particular oversight rather too well. That is correct, Sir Apprentice Baker, but you should not underestimate me. This is perhaps your first time seeing this item, is it not? Right here is the very scepter you mentioned. One of the witnesses found it tossed in the shrubbery on the side of the path.
Ah, yes, indeed, that was it. I located it. My feet found themselves ensnared in the blasted thing and it sent me flying through the air.
Somehow I'm not surprised to hear you fell, Gramps. This scepter does seem to carry a most sinister air. Indeed, my lord. However, this scepter will only work well in the hands of a witch, with the incantation being said aloud.
Oh, that's too bad. I wanted to try lighting some stuff on fire.
Please don't look at me when you say that. You see, there are 2 magic gems set in this scepter. Alright, we're gonna take a break, guys. We'll be right back with more of Layton vs. Wright on the 3DS. Stay tuned, everybody.